How you guys doing? Welcome back to Conversations Over Chess. As you can see, I'm on the road. The individual that's stopping by the podcast is a very near and dear friend to my heart. He was almost a part of my blindside story. He's been a brother to me, a friend, just a loyal individual. Please welcome Luc Brown to the show.
Thank you, man.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
How you doing?
I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate seeing you. I haven't seen you forever, so
Yeah.
It's a blessing to see you, seeing what you're doing. You're doing great things. So
I appreciate that.
I love seeing that for you.
I appreciate that. It's been a while since we've seen each other. I'm down here in North Crackalack, North Carolina. It's been a journey. I came down from D.C., smooth travels. How's your day been going?
It's good, man. We got a good lift this morning, so
Yeah.
I feel good from that.
That's fact leg day for all you
Yeah, we
leg
got
day.
some good squats in.
Thick thighs, they say lies.
So I'm ready. I just need to eat afterwards, and then I'm ready. I'm chilling, man.
Yeah, no, I'm fake starving. I'm
Yeah.
fake starving as well. I wanted to start the podcast episode out a little bit differently.
Okay.
I know you, but obviously the big news is that you're getting married soon.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to give flowers out, and it's not to the individual that you're thinking, yourself. It's to you, your fiance, about to be wife. I wanted to publicly and privately start there because we're not going to get into it too specifically, but you were going through some times in your life. And for this individual to step into your life and to be the change that you needed, or the force or the push to get you in the right direction, she is near and dear to my heart now, just now knowing her and meeting her yesterday, but for what she had did for you in your life. I wanted to start there. That was literally the first bullet point that I got on my notes, is to give her flowers both publicly and privately.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
I know that life is life, right?
Yep.
And one thing Master Sergeant used to always say, so for those who don't know, me and Luke went to New York Military Academy together, military high school in upstate New York, and we always used to have this one Master Sergeant that just was on our ass. And he used to always say two things that I'll never forget: learning is a change in behavior, and the only way to change is when you're forced to.
Right.
And I want to publicly thank Chloe for forcing you to change for the best.
I thank her every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you guys meet? Tell us a little bit about that journey and that story of
For
meeting her.
sure.
Now it's time to pay these bills.
This episode is brought to you by Legendary Apparel by Kimaj the Creator. Don't let the fly name or my fly fit fool you. Legendary Apparel is a one-stop shop for all streetwear and essentials. Outside of the items that I'm wearing, he also offers bags, sweatsuits, shoes, canvases. You name it, he has it. Also, you're in for a treat. If you use the promo code COCP, which stands for Conversations Over Chess Podcast, you'll get free shipping. I repeat, free shipping. Also, be sure to visit his website. Link in the description or up on the screen. Be sure to give him a follow at _Creator, Kreator. Forget staying thirsty, my friends. Stay legendary. Legendary Apparel, the presenting sponsor of Conversations Over Chess. Peace.
Now back to the podcast.
So I had moved down to Jacksonville, Florida,
Okay.
right after NEMA. So that was my 10th grade year when I went to New York Military Academy.
All right.
Afterwards, that's when my parents decided to move to Florida, so we moved down to Florida. And that was my 11th grade year. So I did 11th, 12th grade year, didn't know her at all. So finished out high school. And then she went to UNF, which is University of North Florida, which is
Okay.
right in Jacksonville, 15 minutes away from where I lived. And I had a bunch of buddies who go to UNF, and I knew females as well who went to UNF, nursing school. She was in nursing school at the time. And through mutual friends, essentially, we met.
Okay.
And after that, I tried hollering at her for about, I want to say 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah. How did that work out?
It wasn't good. It was failing.
Did you have no game, or what was it?
I had game. It wasn't that, but I don't know what
Would
it
she
was.
say you had game?
Nah, she never said I had game. I'd like to think I had game, but I don't know. She never said I had any type of game.
Yeah.
I think she was just focused on herself at the time, especially being in nursing school,
Definitely.
starting brand new. And she's super smart, so she's always finished at the top of her classes.
Hey, okay.
So I think that was one thing that she really wanted to focus and harp on, is her school and her education at the
Definitely.
time. So I think that's why she ignored me. I wouldn't say ignore me. She would she would agree to plans.
Definitely.
And then she would just fall out.
Actually, got to study.
Yeah, I got to study.
I have a paper due.
Right, exactly.
I like you, but I don't think I like you that
you know
much.
how it goes, yeah.
The run around.
So it was like that for about 9 months. And finally, I was going through all my contacts. I was deleting contacts that I don't really reach out to or talk to anymore. And she was one of them. So I had reached out just to see like if it was the same number and whatnot.
So hold on, you reached out telling her, hey, I'm about to delete you?
Essentially, yeah. It wasn't straight to the point like that. But
just to let you know you're not going to be in my close friends anymore.
She didn't know she was going to get deleted.
Okay.
If she didn't respond, then yeah, she was going to get deleted. So she actually responded, and I can't remember the conversation we had. But after that, we started talking a little bit briefly. She would go to Jacksonville Jaguars game. I wouldn't see her there, but I would be at the game, and I would be on my story filming stuff, and she'd be filming her story. And
is she a sports fan?
Yeah, she's this is her hoodie.
Okay.
Yeah, I wear her clothes, bro.
All right. I said, hopefully not the draws, but okay.
No,
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Only during fun time. No. But so I would
Jacksonville games.
Yeah, I would see her at the Jacksonville games. We would like create small conversations, and then finally we had ran into each other after I had gotten my haircut.
Okay.
And we had ran into. Yeah.
You can't tell a man nothing after a haircut.
I gotta thank my barber for that.
So, through the alley-oop.
So I saw her literally an hour after I got my haircut, and we saw each other in public, and after that, she actually approached me.
Okay, she made the first move?
She made the first move. So that's what she considers she makes the first move when I was trying to holler at her for the last year.
Oh, Lord.
That's why she said she really made the first move when that's not true, but whatever.
Okay. We're going to have to get her on one day. Tell her side of the story.
Yeah. So we saw each other. She told me she wanted to hang out.
Okay.
I think this was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And she tells me she wants to hang out on a Friday at this time at this place. And so I'm like, all right, she's giving me a time, a place, everything that I need to know. Like, she can't cap on me now. Like, she told me to come over to her apartment. Yeah. We could just hang out for a little bit and just watch TV, go get some food, whatever.
Sounds good.
So that's what we did. I came over the first date.
Where'd you guys go?
You know Naruto, you know the show?
Yeah.
So I'm watching Naruto on her couch. She's like, what the hell am I getting myself into?
I would have left you high and dry at that point.
Her roommates walk in from wherever they're coming from, and we're in the living room watching TV. And her roommates come in, and they're like, what the hell is on my TV? Like, who is this guy? Like, what is going on right now? And they were just so confused. So after that, it started kicking off even more. We were definitely, like, talking to each other more and more. And,
definitely.
I was trying to get the ball rolling. I wanted a relationship with her, but I was still pretty scarred from my last relationship, so I wanted to test her out for like 4 or 5 months.
Before you continue? Scarred in what way?
Oof, yeah. She was very toxic.
Okay, continue. Touch on that.
We could get into that. I don't care.
No, that's all right. That's the past. We're worried about the future.
Yeah. Amen.
There you go. Naruto, friends walk in.
Yeah, so for the first like 4 or 5 months of us just talking, I wanted to see her around my friends. I wanted to see her around my family. I wanted to see how she reacts under stress. I wanted to see if she gets angry. I want to see everything, all the aspects, because I didn't have that chance. I wasn't smart enough in my past relationship. So I was like, let me see if there's any red flags. Yeah. So there wasn't. So
correct me, and sorry to interrupt you again. Correct me. You guys are doing this as friends, not in a relationship at this point.
Correct.
I want to point that out to the viewers because that's something as a young man I had to realize. And in plain English, I had to learn as a young man, you do not have to stick your thing inside of a young lady in order to find out anything. Like once you cross that path, it's a different boundary that you guys are on. So I had to realize as a young man to say, hey, I want to actually be your friend first.
Right.
I can learn everything about you as a friend to even before we jump into anything relationship or intimately. So
that's honestly another great point. I'll piggyback off of that. We weren't physical at all, like for quite a bit. Like I would say, I can't remember, maybe a couple months.
So be careful, our parents might watch this.
But we weren't physical at all.
See, still not physical, right? Wink, wink.
Yeah, we're waiting for marriage.
Yeah.
So, but like that's a great point though. You need to find the friend first.
Outside of that,
right.
because once you cross that boundary, I feel like there's just no going back.
Exactly.
So I understand that all too well. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. Like, you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend? No, we're friends.
We were just friends. Yeah. We were exclusively talking, but she wasn't talking to anybody else. I wasn't talking to anybody else, but we were just friends.
That's literally what my aunt preached to me for the longest, and I didn't catch what she was putting down until I was 25. She was like, "Yo, you young folks don't date anymore." I'm like, "What you talking about, auntie? I'm dating right now. That's my girlfriend." No. You're always in a relationship, she used to say. Date somebody, go out, get to know them, this, that, and the third, and it's okay. And once you find that one, then it's exclusive. Now, no, don't talk to anybody else. It's just this individual. So I understand that, and that's pretty cool. I didn't know that dynamic.
Yeah. So during that 4 and 5 months while I was testing her out and whatnot, I made it known probably about 3 months into it that I really wanted a relationship with her, maybe 4 months into it, that I wanted to make her my girlfriend. And she was like kind of getting cold feet at the time and like walking, it was almost like walking on eggshells a little bit. Yeah. Because her reasoning was going back to school is she wanted to focus on school, all her time and energy, everything was going into school. Exactly. Yeah, time. And she was worried about me that if she's dedicated to school, how am I going to feel being lonely or whatever? Yeah. And I was like,
if you're not my first priority, what will you be doing and how would that affect you? And I can understand that from her point of view, where it's just like, hey, I like you enough to say, let's just wait. Let me finish this over here first.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, no, like, you have a commitment first before you had a commitment to me. Yeah. I'm going to push you to get through school. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to, like, your school comes before me, like, for real. And I reminded her that until the day she graduated. And
she got both her bachelor's and master's done. Or just a bachelor's?
I'm not quite sure. I know she did.
She finished. She's all that matters.
Yeah, she's a registered nurse.
There you go. Shout out to all the nurses out there.
Yeah, essential workers. So that was her reasoning. She was trying to warn me, saying, "Hey, like, I may not have all the time for you." And I told her, like, "Don't worry about me. I'll fend for me. I'm fine. I know that I want you. Definitely. I could worry about all that other stuff at a different time. Like, I'm fine. Trust me. I've been alone for the last 2-3 years. Like, I know what I can handle." So once she heard that kind of solidified everything and pushed us forward more. Like, made me more confident that she would be my girlfriend. So then come around, it was December 1st. That's when we actually first started dating. I took her down to St. Augustine in Florida. Okay, yep. They have like a huge light show for Christmas and whatnot. Yeah. So I took her down there, and I asked her to be my girlfriend. It took me a very long time.
So listen,
I wanted to do it like right when we got there, but I did it like right when we were about to leave. I was nervous as hell, bro.
Yeah, palms are sweaty.
Yeah, because like and still to this day, like I tell my boys, like I don't know how I got her. She's way out of my league,
bro.
Like, so
it'd be like that sometimes.
Still to this day, it blows my mind. But
it's funny because a lot of women I dated, I'm like, yo, how? Like, maybe they just didn't know the confidence they had in themselves or something. Because I'm like, look, you're not supposed to be with me, baby girl. Yeah, you're like a supermodel in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
I get it. Well, good things worked out. Good things come to those who wait. So I appreciate that. And to set the scene, Chloe is originally from Florida, correct?
Yes.
So walk us through how a New Yorker, right, and a Southern belle, walk us through that dynamic, because there's a lot of preconceived things, a lot of just assumptions that are made from New Yorkers. You guys are attitude or this, which we do have some, but outside of that, like, how was that dynamic dating an individual from the South, originally from there?
So
now it's time to pay these bills.
Think global, act local. The Wrld Izyorz offers the coolest men's fashion and accessories at 104 William Street in Newburgh, New York, my hometown. It's also available at thewrldizyorz.com. That is WRLDIZYORZ.com. Be sure to use the discount code COCP, which stands for Conversations Over Chess Podcast, to get 10% off. I repeat, 10% off all of your purchases. Again, Wrld Izyorz, WRLDIZYORZ.com. 10% discount code on the screen. Get you some.
Now back to the podcast.
Our energies, I think, mix together very well.
Okay.
Because, like, I would say a lot of the assumptions that you just brought up, they are true.
Yeah. You said so. Because she's crazy. Right. She's from Florida. She's crazy.
No, she's not crazy. Like, the thing with, like, you hear about, like, Southern belles. Like, I consider her a Southern belle. They're just, like, sweet girls. Like, they're just very sweet, you know? That's her. Me, on the other hand, I'm more of a hard ass. You know, like that's the New York in me. I could be loud if I need to. I could have that attitude if I need to. One thing she tells me is, like, compared to her previous boyfriends, that she's never really had a man.
Okay.
And I kind of like gave that standard of what a man should be.
Definitely.
So I honestly contribute that to being from New York and being around the environment I was in and
Definitely.
and whatnot, you know, like having real life situations thrown at you. So I think our energies, they blend really well.
Yeah.
Because she's a comforter and a nurturer, and I like persevere a lot. You know, like I'm like pushing all the time, and sometimes she'll reel me back in and kind of make me see the bigger picture. And I'm like, yeah. No, you got a really good point.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know me, I'm just always on.
I feel like it's just biblically written that way, where it's just like it's no coincidence that we are much better with a strong woman by our side. Sure, and that brings me to the next question or point that I wanted to ask you is that every individual, no matter what their ethnic background, who has been great and wonderful, every man that I've had in my life, they've always had a strong woman on their side. Right. So having her on your side, how has she 10x'd you, improved you in any way, and how has you vice versa, essentially? So you for her and her for you.
So I would say I would start off with physically. But before I met her, you know, I was an athlete.
Yeah.
But when I got into the troubles I was getting to, all that got thrown to the side, and I didn't care about none of that. I wasn't working out. I didn't care about my health. I was smoking a lot. I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
And not really putting my health as a priority.
Health is wealth, man.
Exactly. I see that now. Yeah. But I would say over the first couple of years we were together, I could see myself having a future with her and having kids with her and possibly marrying her one day.
Okay.
So at that point, I was thinking, of course, every man wants to be jacked, ripped, whatever it is. It's just a mentality that you need to adapt.
You got to put in the work.
Right. So I didn't have that mentality, but once I saw what I could have with her, I was like, I want to, like, subliminally, she pushed me to want to go to the gym, want to be jacked, want to be strong, want to be the man for her, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be a good influence for her. I want to be a good influence for our future kids.
Definitely.
I tell her all the time, when we have kids, I want to be jacked. I want to be able to play basketball with them. I want to bring them to the gym and get them in the gym with me. I want to do stuff like that, you know? Yeah. And then mentally, I would say, mentally, it was a whole 180.
Yeah.
I wasn't suicidal at all, but I just didn't care about my life. You know, I didn't care where I ended up. I didn't care what I did. I didn't care about nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and then she came in and just opened my eyes to everything, like everything I needed to change about myself. You know.
Yeah. One thing that I had interviewed a black couple, like I had mentioned off camera. I interviewed them. They were episode 3, and one thing the gentleman said is that her walking into my life, it forced me to want more for myself. Yeah. And it seems like that's the same thing you're echoing right here, right now, where it's just like, yo, I didn't care because it's just me. I'm responsible for myself, and I was good. Exactly. But when she came around, it was just like, I have responsibilities for that. The person that I already think is outside of my league, the Southern Belle, this everything, like that person who's everything for me, I got to straighten up. So I understand that all too well, where it's just like,
because at the end of the day, and I'll tell her this often, like at the end of the day, the man of the family is the last line. Like,
yeah, first and last, it seems like.
like truth, that's in the Bible. It's in throughout history and everything. It's the man is the last line of defense of everything, and like having her to nurture me and like help make decisions, it definitely helps.
Definitely.
You know?
One thing that you can, just across the conversation so far, you've alluded to just being a man, having to step into the role of saying, hey, I'm about to be a husband now, and just, just growing up, growing pains, right? So love languages, right? You have a woman that you're about to marry to become your wife. What was that? Who was that in your life? Who were you around? What were the things that you sing? Because it's not, I always say it all the time in every episode, monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. So I learned to love the way that I love inadequately or adequately due to what I've seen. Yeah. So who was that for you that said, you know what, I'm going to be a good man because of X, Y, and Z. I seen this done right or I seen this done wrong?
That's a really good question. So no matter, like, me and my father always had our struggles, but even though we had our indifferences, I could always see he loved and cared for my mother all the time. But I wouldn't say I got it from that. I really don't know. I would say
That was just the first person in your life that you seen, like, okay, this individual.
yeah, and I could see he was a man to her. He, like, took care of all her needs, anything she needed. Maybe that's where it kind of stems from. But I don't know. Like, I think it's almost like self-taught in a way. Like, it's just natural.
Okay.
Because I'm not super religious, but I know the Bible. You know, like, I know. I'm a Christian, so I know Christianity, and I know what it takes, like, from the biblical aspect, to be a man to your wife. You know, how to love. Like, I'm not perfect at it. I could definitely. Could definitely be a lot better at it. But I treat her with the utmost respect. I make sure she's taken care of.
Yeah.
There'll never be a time where she's gonna be hungry. Like, nothing like that. Yeah, like I started. I think it's kind of just natural, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have a role model and get good advice
Definitely.
on that, but I truthfully think it just comes down to you and your partner, and your respect for each other.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure. That's for sure. Pivoting away from that a little bit, I want to talk about some cars. You're
Okay.
the only other person outside of myself that is a car guy, loves it through and through. What is your dream car? I always been wanting to know that since I got here. Because you're currently driving what? Tell the folks what you're driving.
I drive a Mercedes CLA 45 AMG.
All right. Is any
it's
extra specs on it, or?
Yeah, I fully customized the entire thing. I got the car wrapped.
Yeah.
It was originally black, but I put a satin wrap black on it. Satin black wrap.
Yeah.
On it.
As I said, I rode in it yesterday. It's fast.
Yeah, nah.
Now it's time to pay these bills.
This episode is brought to you by DJ DMC. For any parties, kickbacks, and weddings, DJ DMC has your back. You can find him on Instagram at DMCTheGoat, on Instagram at DMCTheGoat. Please be prepared to pay the cost as seen on my shirt. He also makes his clothing line, great premier brand, and be sure to reach out to his Instagram as well at Pay the Cost LLC on Instagram. That is Pay the Cost LLC on Instagram. Get you some.
Now back to the podcast.
And we didn't even get to do everything in it. But,
Well, hopefully today.
but we did have a lot of fun in it last night.
Yeah.
I would say my dream car, I tell her all the time, is a Porsche GT3 RS, if you know what that is.
I know a Porsche, that's all. All the extra numbers and letters, I'm like, all right.
It is the baddest car to exist. It's the best daily driver car, and it's a sport. It's a race car. It's a track car.
Okay.
So it's just
It's like street legal too?
Yeah. It sounds amazing. Like, the sound of it is
just purrs.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
He said, get a room. God dang.
Yeah. I might have to. Someone needs to check the exhaust. I would say that, and it just looks beautiful. And of course, Porsche makes great cars. Like, there's not a bad car they ever made, you know? Yeah. But if I could have whatever money in the world and just go crazy, it would probably be like a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, or I would even go like Koenigsegg. Do you know what Koenigseggs are? Mm-mm. They're like...
I guess I'm not a car guy. So.
They're the top, like... They're the fastest cars ever, like street legal cars ever. Yeah, they're over Lambo, they're over Bugatti, they're over all that.
Dang, I gotta do some Google searching after this.
We'll have to verify this, but I think they're like a Swedish company.
Yeah.
The guy started making it in like late '90s.
Okay.
He started just making cars in his garage. Yeah, and then
he's just a brainiac like this.
I think you're gonna have to. We'll have to look it up and verify.
Yeah,
but he started building that, and then turned into a company. And then the rest is history.
Where did the love for cars come from then?
I gotta say, honestly, because really no one around me was in cars.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Not the same neighborhood, but we grew up in the same town. I ain't seen no Aventadors, Lamborghinis, and Fettuccine and all of that. I ain't got to see that.
I honestly gotta say, and this is just the materialistic part of me talking.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's like from the culture.
Yeah, okay.
Like, from listening to music. From, like, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, wanting something fast, wanting something that just like shows that it's just power. You know?
You want the head turner.
Yeah.
You rev the engine and the whole block is just shaking.
Sure,
He wants one of those. Okay.
I look in my car and I'm like, all right, that's a good looking car. It's only an entry level AMG, but you look at it and it's like that looks like a bad car, you know?
Yeah.
So it's wanting to have a nice looking car, but it's also wanting to have a fast car.
Yeah.
I don't like being in traffic. I like getting around people real quick if I need to.
Listen, man, I got so many speeding tickets, it's not even funny. I ain't gonna lie.
I had a reckless driving charge here. Bro, I'm going home from work one day, and I'm just cruising. It's late at night. I'm cruising down the highway. This is when I live in uptown Charlotte. And I'm just flying like 95, and the highway is stupid. It's a 4-lane highway, but the speed limit's 50 miles per hour. Okay? So I'm just cruising. No one's on the road. I'm going fast, and I don't see any cop, but I guess he was under the underpass. So I go flying past him. I get off my exit.
He's right there
right in Uptown. Out of nowhere, as I'm like hitting the red light, he fucking flies up on me, dude, and like comes to my, like, it seems like he was gonna like go into my trunk.
Yeah.
And he throws his lights on. I had my firearm on me, so like I knew I was in trouble. So I pulled over. I'm right in front of my apartment complex. Like if that light wasn't red, if it was green, I could have pulled in the parking garage. I would have been straight. Oh, yeah. So I get pulled over. I threw my hands out the window as soon as possible. I'm like, I just want to let you know I got a firearm on me. Yeah. And he's like, okay, thanks for letting me know. So they come up. They, 2 cops were there to take my firearm from me. Basically, give me a reckless driving charge. He could have gave me a speeding ticket, but he's like, I'm going to be kind of grant you something. I'm not going to give you a speeding ticket, but I got to give you this charge.
What's the difference, though? Because I thought a reckless driving is a speeding ticket.
No. So a reckless driving, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a misdemeanor and it stays on your record. And
so I have a speeding ticket through Virginia, and they consider, because I was like speeding like 90 or whatever.
Virginia doesn't play around.
They don't F around.
No, same with Georgia. So be careful.
That's both places I got tickets. But it's a misdemeanor, so I work in finance, so then when they do background checks, that misdemeanor shows up on my record. So I'm like, yo, what the freak? And then I called down, I was like, is there any way to drop this? Nah, young man. I'm like, yo, y'all effing with me now. But thank God it's not like, mail fraud. Like, obviously I can't work in finance if it's like that, but driving, they're like, you're good, bro.
So I ended up getting a lawyer. He got it off for me. I just had to take like a 4-hour course. And ultimately it saved me money in the long run because insurance would have just got jacked up. Everything would have got jacked up. So I probably spent like $700 on a lawyer, another $200 on the class, and that was it. So, and it's not on my record. It's not on my insurance, anything.
So what do you learn, kids? Do the speed limit.
Yeah, do the speed limit.
I was going to say, do you think I should look into that in Virginia? I might have to check that out to just take a little course. Yeah. But this is like 1,000 years ago.
I don't know. It might be too late, but it doesn't hurt to check.
It never hurts to try.
But the funny thing about that story is, I forgot to mention, when the cop walked out to my window, he was like, dude, do you know where I clocked you at? I said, no, I never saw you. He said, I clocked you 2 minutes back that way. I had to turn my car and I had to fly here. It took me 2 minutes to catch up to you. Bro, I was hitting it.
I'm like, dang, what was the rush?
I just want to get home. Maybe I had to use the bathroom. I don't know.
My boy had to take I had to go take a number 2.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have been that. Yeah, I don't know. But I call her, and she actually calls me while I'm getting pulled over and talking to the cop. I asked the cop real quick, you mind if I take this call? And she answered the phone, and I'm like, hey, I just got pulled over. And she's like, oh, no. Then I think I said, I'm about to go to jail. Yeah. I think I said, I'm about to go to jail.
Any fiance over the head is like, what's going on?
I think I said I'm about to go to jail the second I answered the call. Yeah. Because in North Carolina, anything over 15 miles per hour, like, it's a felony, you go to jail. Like, dang. Yes. Like, it's that bad. I don't know if it's a felony. It's a reckless charge. Yeah. I could be wrong on that felony. But you go to, like, 9 times out of 10.
They taking you towing the car. It's the whole shebang.
Exactly. Yeah. So I answered the call. I said, hey, I think I'm about to go to jail. I just got pulled over.
I'm assuming it was historicalness after that.
Her reaction was, what? Yeah. And it was on speaker, so it was through my car, so the cop could hear it, the conversation. Yeah. And luckily they didn't take me to jail, and I told you to just give me the reckless driving charge. Yeah. I just found that part funny that I left out.
So a lot of people don't know you and I played high school basketball together.
Yep.
To the world, I'll give you your props. This is the best shooter. Steph Curry ain't got nothing on my boy. I don't care what you're saying. But it was fun, man. Those were like the glory years. A lot of people don't know. I was LeBron James before LeBron James,
for
even though he's
sure.
older than me. You were Klay Thompson before Klay Thompson, even
sure.
though he's older than you. But what were those days? What was Nima like for you? I only know Nima from my perspective.
Right.
So, what was NEMA like for you from your perspective? For those who don't know, NEMA stands for the New York Military Academy in Cornwall, New York. Cornwall on the Hudson, New York. You're literally in military clothing. You march in parades, like Macy Day parades, things like that. What was military school for you? Did it help you
So,
in any way as well, too?
so I don't have any negatives about it, honestly. And I know that like military school, whatever, has like a lot of negative views.
Connotations, yeah.
So I didn't have any negative like times there, but I had a good time, honestly. Doing the parades.
Yeah.
That was different. I didn't like waiting around 3 hours beforehand,
Yeah,
but
for
sitting around in New York City and whatnot. But that was a good time. Something fun to do. What sticks with me from Nima, honestly, was basketball.
Yeah.
Like Coach Les, the team we had, like that was hands down the best team I ever played on.
Yeah.
And it was truly just 5 of us, 6 of us.
No, for real.
You know, like the bench was whatever, but like us 6,
Yeah. We were up
Like-
30 by the time they got in.
we would win games by 70 points.
Yeah. It was
Like
crazy.
that was the best team I ever played on, and it was really cool for me also because that was my first year in, and I was only a sophomore, and I was starting with all the seniors and whatnot. So that was really cool to experience. Coach Les, he was a huge, you know, he was a huge impact. Great guy. He taught me a lot of leadership skills. Sergeant Bailey, of course. I would say it was easier for me, for sure, because I was a day student.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to stay the nights, only really during winter, but that was very rare when it got snowed in. So a lot of stuff you experienced, like having to wake up early, I
Yeah.
didn't have to experience.
Yeah, I feel like it paid dividends for me in my world, in my life, I should say. I always tell people that the conversation switched it for me because at public school at NFA, it was, are you going to college? Like if it was an option. When I got to NEMA, it was, which college are you going to? As if it's a foregone conclusion that you're going.
Right.
And I needed that discipline and that structure in that early on. Literally, we used to wake up at like 5:45 to go do physical training, shower, go to the mess hall, go to class, blah, blah, blah. Now, as a young adult, I'm still waking up at 5 a.m., go lift some weights here and there, probably 3 to 4 days out of the week, and then go to work. So it's like that early on structure where I get to the workforce and I'm around other people in college where you see where it's just like, what do you mean you can't wake up early? I've been doing this since I was. So it's just like, it makes the difference. So I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, that was the best thing for you at
No,
that
for real,
time
for
in your
real.
life. Like that
Listen.
is everything you needed.
It literally was. I forget. I feel like I never forget. Shout out to Coach Puka. I don't know if you remember Coach Jamel.
Yeah.
So Coach Puka is the reason why I went to NEMA. So
I thought it was Rayford.
no, so this is how it went. Coach Rayford was like saying, "Hey, look, you need to get out of Newburgh, go do this and the third." And then Coach Brother basically echoed that and was like, "Hey, look, that would be a great move for you."
Yeah.
Coach Brian, and this is why the Newburgh Zion Alliance, shout out to you. Like all of these coaches just like pushed me to be great. So Coach Harrell said go do it. Coach Brother said go do it. Coach Brian physically drove me from Newburgh out there to go speak to the commandant, Major Coverdale. I was like, all right, I don't think I'm not going because I'm still a young man. I got all my friends, got all the ladies. I'm a this, I'm that. I'm a football player. So I'm like, bro, I'm worried about the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Coach Jamel is the reason why I went. And what I mean by that is he had a conversation with me in the back room of the gym.
St. Mary's?
St. Mary's gym. And I'll never forget what he said. He was just like, if you go and do something, don't be half-hearted. So if you're going to make the decision to go, make sure it's one of those like you are wholeheartedly making the decision. Yeah. And he was just like, I feel like it's a great decision. I feel like it would be the best decision for you for what's going on in your life. You lost your mom. You out here being a knucklehead kid. You're doing this, that, and the third. Like, you should go. Mm-hmm. But just don't do it half-assed or half-heartedly. Right. And that stuck with me for forever. And I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it correctly. I'm going to go all in. Mm-hmm. And I went. And it was the greatest decision I ever made in my life, literally, bro. Because a lot of people understand, like, you get to go to school with a lot of different people, different ethnic
All around
groups.
the world.
But for us, it was around the world.
Yeah.
We had the whole ethnic groups, but this was global.
Yeah.
Spain, Africa, this, that, Angola. Like, I'm like, gee.
China,
Yeah.
Japan, Korea.
I'm like, this is just wild. Germany. I'm like, yo, like, it didn't, just to see that, I feel like looking back at it now, it's just like exposure leads to expansion. I was exposed to that early on. So I understand the culture of somebody different at the age of 16, 17, 18, and now being 27, turning 30 in a few years. It's like, I understand their culture is like different, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
That took me a while too. I was very like ignorant to different cultures.
Yeah.
And like over time, I kind of like become a lot more open minded. And like now I like kind of learn about cultures. Like I just started watching on Hulu Shogun.
Now it's time to pay these bills.
This episode is brought to you by Toes clothing brand, the hottest streetwear from the DC area, based on the principle of community, perseverance, and integrity. From the community, for the community. Stand for something, or you fall for anything. Shop online at 110toes.com. That is the number 1 TENTOES.com. And follow on Instagram at 110toes LLC. That is the number 1 TENTOES LLC. We are 10 Toes. Get you some.
Now back to the podcast.
I haven't seen it,
but it's like basically showing like it's real factual stuff. What happened in Japan, I think, in this like 1600s, and 1700s, and all that 1800s, and how it like led to what it is now.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I articulate this to the best of my ability. Obviously, racism and things like that, any isms are real, but I feel like for today's time, it's a cultural difference. Yes, that stuff existed, this, that, and the third, slavery, yes, blah, blah, blah. But today, I feel like it's just a foregone thing of just saying, I don't care about your culture.
Yeah.
I don't care enough about you to put myself in your shoes as to understanding why a Palestine doesn't like an Israel, why this doesn't like that. So I feel like in today's culture, more than anything, it's just a cultural misunderstanding. Now, granted, you could just not like me because I'm black. I understand that. That's a racism type of thing. But just to not like me because of my faith, if I'm a Muslim man or this, that, and the third, that's a cultural difference that you're just unwilling to just learn a little bit about.
Right.
And for myself, personally speaking, I've dated different ethnic groups, dated different religions, I've dated different things. So for me, I've always been open-minded into that regard of just saying, hey, I want to know why you fast so much, or I want to know why you're a Catholic person and go to church for only 30 minutes or just that and third, where I'm like, it's 3 hours at a black church. We got Holy Ghost and music. I'm like, God dang, we got morning service, Sunday school, after service. I'm like, yo, Joe. So
yeah, I remember actually AAU, y'all would all come out to church to come right into practice.
For real, bro. It's so crazy. So I'll never forget this. I don't even know if you was there yet at NEMA. So we used to go, they'll have you leave for church on Sundays at NEMA, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how, but they had put Buddhists down for me. And I'm like, bro, I'm not Buddhist. And again, nothing against Buddhist people. I'm like, bro, I don't even look Buddhist.
Yeah.
Like, and then he was like, nah, you on the paper, is written down as Buddhist. You got to attend the Buddhist church. I'm like, I'm going, but like, what we really doing?
Yeah, what is this?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man. But I digress. But culturally, man, I'm glad that you're open-minded to it now. And obviously, it's I just feel like it's beneficial because you get educated.
Right.
You get educated about something outside of yourself.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly, especially when it's applied.
Especially
when it's applied.
Great point.
Let's see. What else did I have in my notes for you? Oh, yeah. How do you think this marriage would thrive, man? What are you looking forward to?
I tell her all the time, I'm looking forward to establishing our family because we both come from divorced families.
Okay.
So I take pride in that close family, you know? Like, I want our kids to have all the ultimate trust in us. I want them to have the ultimate love. I don't ever want them to think they're not loved.
Yeah.
I want to build that with her. I want to see the world with her. I want to buy multiple properties, like have a summer house or something. Like, I want to experience everything in life with her. Yeah. And then ultimately with kids one day.
No, for sure. I was going to say, is there an emphasis on any timelines or anything? Because I know, we live in a world where it's just like, oh, this and the third. Now, obviously, women have a biological clock. That's a factual thing.
Yeah.
But to say there's a timeline on just
no, there's not a timeline. It's ultimately when God wants. Like, it's God's plan. But I tell her I tell my mom I want to get in a house first, and then when we get into a house first, I want to get a lot of stuff we need in that house.
Yeah.
Or just stuff that I want for it, not necessarily that we need. And then after that, I want to be financially free. Like, we're not worrying about it,
Yeah.
a damn thing. I want to be comfortable with how we're living.
Any student loan debt for yourself?
What was that?
Any student loan debt for yourself?
Nope.
And then what about her?
She doesn't have any student loans.
So that's good. That's
no
good.
student loans. So that's a blessing. And then, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that you had previously or briefly mentioned is that you guys both come from divorced families. If you're comfortable about speaking about it,
Yeah.
How did that divorce affect you? Because I know a friend of mine, shout out to Luc Pena, yo, his parents divorced when he was in high school. I understand how that, he jumped off a cliff. I won't put his business out there, but it wasn't a good reaction on his part. How did that affect you? And then if you want to speak first, it's up to you.
I would say, like, subliminally, like, not in my forefront mind.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it affected me because I was acting out. I was doing bad stuff. I could call it attention seeking, possibly.
Yeah.
I wasn't being the person my parents raised me to be at all. I was the complete opposite of what that was.
Yeah.
So I would guess that in that way it affected me in a negative way. But at the same time, I try to look at, in all the negatives, I try to find positives. So in the positive aspect, it changed me because it let me know not what to do. Like, I know what not to do now.
Yeah.
It let me know how to treat her better, like how to be more of a man to her, because at the end of that, my dad wasn't a man at all. He was just doing his thing.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, from the positive, it definitely changed me in the fact that I also came stronger, a lot mentally stronger after that. Once I got through all the BS that I was doing, and
it seems like it's more of a, hey, I did it the wrong way, so I should try to do it this way,
right,
which is the right one.
And so, yeah, I would say ultimately it made me stronger in the long run. It made me realize how I need to be towards my woman.
Yeah.
The do's and the don'ts. And I saw how it messed up my mom.
Yeah.
So I can't ever picture her like that.
Definitely.
Can't picture my fiance like that. So I just wouldn't want that for her. She means the world to me, so.
Yeah. One thing that I would be remiss not to bring up, and I know it might be hard for you to express yourself about this young person, but I'm your sister's generation. Shout out to Alyssa. What has having an older sister meant to you? I know it might be hard to talk good about her. I know. I get it. But having her in your life, I know how I'm the youngest of four, and I might get a little emotional about this, but I had talked to my brother. Well, me and my family every Christmas Eve we meet up for just a family dinner. And this past family dinner, after being in therapy for like a couple months, I realized how I have fallen short as a brother, in any capacity, as an uncle, any title that I hold in this world to them. And I had to express to them like, hey, I love you guys above everything else. And yeah, I might be in North Carolina and this, that, and the third, and I might not answer the text on time, but you guys are most important to me. I lost my mom at 13. There's nobody else outside of the Welleses of us. Yeah. So you guys are most important to me, and I want that to be articulated now here before we all leave this earth. So just to let them know that they were appreciated. All of that to say is, how much has your sister meant to you in your life?
She definitely made a big deal. I would say she instilled toughness into me for sure. Because she was bigger. She's bigger than the average girl. So she played.
So watch out now.
She
might have to.
No, she played ball in the hood. She
Yeah.
was like, she wasn't your typical female.
Shout out to Alyssa, because I still say to this girl, she's the only white girl that came to the hood, played with Ben, and just held her own and just didn't care.
Yeah, she did. And then she also played football.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she played football.
She wasn't playing around.
I don't know up until what age, maybe like 12. But she played like football for Wallkill.
All right.
So it was in a way like almost like a big brother because she bullied me, bro. Like she bullied me. There was a point in time where I always tell this story, and she'll laugh when she hears this. But there was a point in time where she started getting her period.
Okay.
And there was one day my mom had just left. And everyone was left. It was just me and her, and she went demon mode on me.
Oh, God.
And There's one time, this particular time, where we were hanging out in a room and like something just switched in her and she got very annoyed, very. I don't know if she was even annoyed. I think she just wanted to mess with me.
Yeah.
You know? So she stuffs me in a sleeping bag,
Jesus Christ.
brings me to the top of the stairs,
You tried to kill my boy.
farts in it, locks me, like closes the damn sleeping bag, and slides me down the stairs.
Oh yeah, I think she tried attempted murder.
Dude, there was another time where my dad was actually home, but you remember how my house was set up. Her room downstairs was all the way in that hallway to the left of the house. The living room was all the way at the right of the house. My dad was watching TV. So I was hanging out in her room one day, and she literally, her bed's against the wall. She takes me and just stuffs me down to the between the bed and the wall. And at first, I think like she's just playing around, so I'm giggling, laughing.
Yeah.
She walks out the room, and I genuinely can't move. Like, I'm pinned. And I can't move at all, and I start getting anxious, and I start like screaming. I'm like,
"Hey, joke's over."
Yeah, seriously. 5 minutes goes by, nothing. I'm like screaming for help, and finally she comes back, and I guess she let me go because here I am today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was.
So you just you survived 2 terrorist attacks against yourself.
There was many more. Yeah, she played physical and mental games with me, but when I got old and big enough, it was no more of that.
Yeah,
you know how that goes.
So how much has she meant to you though? Like what is?
So then when she got into college, we still had a decent relationship. We had FaceTime here and there.
Yeah.
But then I started getting on my BS.
Yeah.
And she started snitching on me a lot.
Oh.
And yeah, it wasn't good. A lot of stuff happened, but she would snitch on me. She would throw me under the bus. And I remember telling her multiple times, I would call her up and be like, "We're done. Like, and I'm not talking to you. I don't know till when. Like, you're done. Like, you're not. I don't consider you're still my sister, but we're not like, type of thing." So then my parents go to the divorce. She's still not there because she's at college in Tallahassee. I'm going through all that stuff, and I think that kind of brought us together more because she would call in and check up on me, Mom, see how we're all doing. And then just slowly over time, like I let the stuff go because kind of what do we open with? The 5
5 at 5?
5 at 5.
Yeah.
So when we opened that, that's kind of like what I was getting at with burning bridges and all that, and trying to rekindle stuff and trust and all that. Because I didn't trust my sister at this point in time at all. Like I couldn't trust her with nothing. And so I told myself, let me let this go. She's my sister.
Definitely. Your only sister.
Yeah, I only got one sister, so let me let it go. And it took. She was fine. Like it didn't take any effort from her. Like she wanted a relationship with me. It was me who was the one that wasn't willing to have the relationship. So I sat down and kind of thought about it one day or night, and I was just thinking like I need to kind of like you just said with your brothers and sisters. Like I need to make an effort as a brother.
That's a fact.
To show that I care and to be a good brother.
Yeah.
So it took time because I'm very prideful and I don't like showing my emotions.
Yeah.
So it took time for me to finally open up and get that ball rolling. And ultimately now I'd say we have the best relationship that we've had ever. We FaceTime a bunch.
Yeah.
It seems like once a day. Even though she calls me all the time, it's annoying. I'll ignore it sometimes because it's just too much. But of course now she has Julia, so
yeah, man,
that's cool.
How does it feel to be an uncle?
It's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
The baby's really cute. I remember when I saw her when she was 2 weeks old and she was just a little thing. I still got a picture.
Yeah.
And I just saw her last month and now she's all big and chunky.
Like babies grow fast, man.
Especially her baby.
Yeah. I was going to say my oldest niece is 14, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I remember just yesterday you were born. So I just can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Amen. Or working hard. Or both.
Bro, I swear to God, working too hard, I feel like.
Too hard.
One thing that I would be remiss to not do is give you your own flowers. And not just you, but your entire family. I had started off with giving Chloe her flowers, but I wanted to give you and your family their flowers. I had made the joke about the blind side, but that was never an option on the table, guys. But I do want to say thank you guys. I want to publicly thank you guys, the entire Luc Brown family, because You guys meant a lot to me. You did a lot for me, and I don't think I've ever said that to you guys, whether it to be yourself, your mom, and your dad. So I want to make sure I tell you guys thank you for everything you did for this little old black kid from Newburgh, New York. Whether that be getting me a little bit of food whenever I was hungry, putting a little couple dollars in my pockets that I earned for like working on the house or something like that. I appreciate it. Um, and
Well, it all starts back with you, bro. Like,
yeah,
character. You have an amazing character. Like, you're an amazing person.
I appreciate that.
And my parents, they don't mess around. And
Yeah.
if you were just some random black kid from Newburgh who's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
they would never. It doesn't matter if you're black, white,
Yeah.
rainbow, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're a piece of shit human, my parents weren't having you.
Nah, that's a fact.
But you proved to them at a super young age that you're not just some kid. Like, you were a man as a kid.
Yeah.
And you were wise. You had knowledge. You had wisdom. Like, you weren't just doing stupid stuff.
No, for sure.
You wanted a future for yourself, and they could see that.
Yeah,
Like,
and don't get it twisted. I've made 1,000 mistakes, and I've always
Yeah.
not always had the best character in life, and that's across my entire journey as 27 as we sit here right now.
Yeah.
28 next Friday. Shout out to me. Shout out to you too. Birthday is March.
Pisces
Yeah,
gang.
Pisces gang. But it's you live and learn.
Yep.
You live and learn. But I always was intentional about I want something more than where I'm at
Right.
right now, and that I could have been in anywhere, but I always wanted something more out of life.
And that's the thing. Like, especially you growing up inner city. Like, how many kids just gave up?
A lot. Gave up, got caught up with the wrong thing,
Yeah.
doing the wrong thing, locked up for whatever reasons.
You could have given up so many times.
Yeah,
You could have. I'm sure you could have. Countless of times.
for real, for real.
And you never did.
Yeah,
And
I applaud that to the people that was in my corner, your family, the coaches, my family, my aunt, my uncle. Like, there's the village that was in my life, man. I could be in tears for what they did for me because when I look back on it, I'll be like, yo, why little old me?
Yeah.
Why did I have to make it out
Yeah.
when everybody else was better looking than me, had more talent than me, was this and that, and just why was I so fortunate that God so loved me that I made it out?
it goes back to God.
Exactly. One question we always end the podcast with is if you know how to play chess, then I typically ask you what is your favorite chess piece and why. But if you don't know how to play chess, the question that we end with is you'll look into the camera and imagine that the entire world is watching. That means over in Africa, China, wherever, the entire world is watching. What advice would you give them to save them some heartache and pain in their life? Any advice that you would give them? The entire world is watching.
So are we doing the first or the latter?
We'll do the latter. So the last question, if the entire world is watching, you'll look into that camera and give them a piece of advice to save them some heartache and pain.
I would say,
And this is your camera right here.
this camera,
Yeah.
I would say work hard, block any haters out. I know that sounds so cliche, but block any negative energy people out. Have a small circle. Keep the people in your small circle that you have, that you trust, love, take care of those people in that small circle. Ultimately, work hard. Things are going to get really tough at times, 1,000%. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tried. You're going to have things thrown at you. But you have to have the mental strength to get past all that. You just have to find a way because no one else is going to find a way for you. You have to have that mentality. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. So, but that doesn't mean at the same time that you have to be nasty to other people. My biggest thing is be a great human, be a man of God, whatever religion you're in, be that person, what your religion's telling you. Have morals, have values, build on those values. And personally, for me, it just goes back to working hard and not going back to a previous life that I lived before. I envision certain goals for myself. I try to close my eyes and see in my imagination of where my beach house is going to be one day,
Yeah.
Another thing I would say is self-educate yourself. You have YouTube. Learn the stock markets, learn finances, learn everything about finances, learn about crypto, learn everything that you possibly can. Knowledge is power, like we said earlier in the podcast. Yeah, I would just, it goes back to the root. Just work hard and keep pushing. It's going to get hard, but you just got to find a way. You got to keep going. And then once you're financially free, you're good. And we had a discussion last night that wealth is really just a mentality, you know?
Yeah.
It's about how you live your lifestyle. You don't need a Mercedes. You don't need a BMW. You don't need, like, my dream car, a Lamborghini. You don't need none of that. You need just a car that gets you from point A to point B. You need a house, shelter. Just that's all. That's truly all you need. And if you could live within your means, then mentally you're wealthy. You're living your life. You know. So that's my little bit of a closing advice. Just work hard, keep going, block any haters out, and keep a small circle of people you could trust and love.
All right. Appreciate you joining me for the show, sir. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you.
Shout out to the episode sponsors. Be sure to check them out at the end of the video. Thank you, guys. See you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Nothing ever comes to a sleeper but a dream. So I'm woke, try and get that money any means. Used to watch mom sweat them clothes to get them clean. Grew up in the slums, ain't shit that I ain't seen. And it's still free, all the guys till they free. Couple niggas crippin' and the others throwing bees. One thing for sure, they gon' all ride for me. Cause we ain't never phased, no gang family.
Damn, what a blessing, all them all nights had me stressing. Praying to the maker, hoping someone get this message. Throw that yak back just to calm down this aggression. Cause I can't afford to lose, not when I'm the prize possession.
Took a couple L's, but we like to call those lessons. Coming from the burg, I was taught to pay attention. Cause them snakes out hissing and they'll sneak you in a second. For that I keep a circle that be tighter than a virgin. Couple niggas screaming, fuck the law, ready for purging. Tell them let the 40 touch a nigga like it's flirting. A lot of hidden hate, oh, y'all thought y'all was lurking. But ain't no time to lack, nah, I'm always observant. Grew up in the field, but I never played the corner. Still could jam a nigga if I don't like the route he running. I've been underground, running around like head tummy. Came from the bottom, I swear I started with nothing. So how can niggas hate? I swear to love it all be fake. Smiling in my face but wanna do me like I'm ace. That's why I say my grace before I put them on a plate. Cause I know I'm too important like a fucking uppercase. And life is like a race, it's just all about the pace. For a little money, dudes become a big disgrace. The fake come and go, but the real can't be replaced. They say the sky's the limit, only limit I embrace. And I'm about $1, no surprise I get the cake. Cause I was taught to hustle in any weather, cannot wait. I done had to starve just to make sure others ate. My pain versus your hurt is something that cannot relate. They try to lock the door, I kick that bitch like Kevin Gates. Couple roadblocks I ran through like I was freight. Heart of a lion, I was molded by the apes. That's why I stand talking, never fall in no debate. I'm on a mission, I gotta get it. For all them long nights the oven had to heat the kitchen. For all them starving nights I went to sleep just to forget it. No food but the sink was always full of dishes. Check the refrigerator knowing nothing even in it. Nights like that can turn a young boy into a menace. Same reason I don't give a fuck about no feelings. Cause I'ma be starving till I count 100 million. Part of my back, nigga.